Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your questions. So I didn't get to come on at lunchtime, but of course I have to try to make some time to come on today. So I am here. I do have an appointment in a couple of minutes, so I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. Start putting your questions in the comments so I can address your questions before heading out. But I have great news to share with you. So, and it is the inspiration for the topic today, which is parole in place. What is that? What's parole in place? So, parole in place is where after you've entered, say you came into the country without permission, we call it iwi. So that's why I have the title here, The Benefits of Having a Military Spouse with an iwi. We call it iwi in the immigration world, and it is entry without inspection. So it means that maybe sometime in your past, you came into the country across the border without permission. And now you're trying to fix that situation. You're trying to be able to get legal status. And parole in place is one of the ways to do that. So we just got our parole in place approval today. Just a few minutes ago, I received the notification that my client who did come into the country iwi, that's without inspection, got the parole in place, that special permission to be here for some time based on the military membership of the spouse. So having a spouse in the military who's a U.S. citizen means, and a parent who's a U.S. citizen means that you may very well be granted parole in place. Now, the other benefit of this is that when you have a parole in place at approval, now with iwi, when you enter the country without permission, you cannot apply for adjustment of status. They usually will not allow you to stay here in the United States and apply for the green card. You have to leave the country first. However, if you do have the advantage of applying for parole in place, it means that once you're granted parole in place, you can move forward with your adjustment of status, and that means you can now apply for the green card while staying in the United States. So there are two benefits here. One is you get special permission to be here despite the past entry without permission, but then you immediately get to move forward with your life. And that prohibition that was there before against you applying for adjustment of status to get your green card is no longer there. You can now show proof that you have permission to be here. You've been paroled into the US, and you can then obtain permanent residence. So that is why I'm so excited, is that it not only means that my client gets to move forward with life, with the family, but it also means that my client can then move forward to get the green card, the permanent residence, without having to deal with the um, the iwi. We call it iwi, the entry without permission. All right, so now that I've told you the good news, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your questions. So put those questions in the comments now. So I have 15 minutes to get through your questions. I'm going to go ahead and scroll through and answer. I'm going to start with TikTok today and then move across. So start putting your questions in the comments. I'm definitely going to work towards getting to your question. So you have work permit SSN I-797 approved. How long after you get the green card? It's gonna depend on your case type. And I don't usually go by when you get the green card. I mean, I've had a case where my clients got the work permit in April, and then by May they had the green card. And then I've had other clients, for example, with VAWA, where it takes a little longer. So they have the 5-year work permit, they have the 5-year travel document, but the road to the VAWA approval and the green card approval is a little longer. So I always go from the date of filing. I don't really go by how long after the green card because it's hard to say. Uh, Married to a non-USA citizen and have 2 kids abroad. My kids citizens birth? Are my kids citizens birth, or I have to apply? Oh, are they citizens at birth, or do you have to apply? So, if you are married to a citizen, so we just got finished with a case like that, we do have to go through a process of submitting. It's like a registration abroad, showing the embassy that based on the circumstances, based on the citizenship of one of the parents, that the children are citizens. So you do have to do this before they turn 18. And yes, it means that on your part, you do have to submit this application to the embassy. They do a interview with the at least one parent. If 2 parents can be there, that's great. And then on the spot, so for my clients, they've been issued a passport on the same day. They've been given a temporary passport on the same day once we show that the children were born abroad, but that they are citizens based on their citizen parent status. And then afterwards they get the passport, the permanent the not 5-year passport in the mail. I started case June 2023, no work authorization yet. USIS request for medical and medical received. So usually that's good news. Right now, it's good news when they're just asking you in the RFE for your medical, because it means that they could very well just they're just going to approve your green card without an interview. So sometimes that's what it indicates. Will you be able to go back to your home country after you seek asylum? So the short answer is likely not, right? It's not that they hold you against your will. It's your choice whether you want to go back. However, if you do take the risk of going back, it means that you're also risking your asylum, your granted asylum. You're also risking the credibility of your application, because when you're applying for asylum, you are saying that there's nowhere that's safe in your own country, and that's why you had to run away and seek asylum in the United States. So when you're going back to your country, it's making the immigration service question the validity of your claim in the asylum. So this is where you have to think hard about the risk of going back home. I sent in my RFE 8 months now and nothing from the USCIS. Some of them are backlogged. Just make sure it was delivered. And this is where I say make sure you track your responses to RFEs to ensure that it was indeed delivered. I filed January 23. My husband sponsored me. He's a green card holder, becoming a citizen this year. All right. Well, now if at the time of filing your spouse is a permanent resident, there is a question about whether your adjustment of status is going to be um, approved, because timing is everything here. So if you file, you are not in status, but your spouse is a green card holder at the time you file, there may be issues there. So this is where it's very important to talk to your lawyer or make sure that you're getting representation through the process. My TPS is still pending for a year now, and country has been redesignated. So yes, though the TPS applications are backlogged and they are taking long. So you could be looking at a year, even a year and a half for some of the applications. What if a child was taken into the country and now they're grown, but they don't have any entry? So um, it depends, there what first of all, okay, that happened to you, that individuals who this happened to, we call them dreamers. Some have qualified for DACA, but right now, any new DACA applications are on hold, and it depends on if you meet all the age requirements when you and continuous presence in the United States. But what are you applying for? What were the circumstances? You're taken into the country, but were you taken across the border or did you come by plane? These would be the questions that would have to be answered to determine how to approach your application. And then, do you qualify for anything to begin with? At a biometrics on November 29th, how long? I'm going to wait to have my work permit. Is marriage based. I'd say 3 to 6 months. Is it okay to apply for marriage to a green card holder 3 months after seeking asylum? This is where it's important to schedule an appointment. It may be, but it may not be. It just depends. So, for example, one of the questions that have come up is maybe the person applied for asylum based on their sexual orientation, and then now they're looking to get married, and that may raise questions about your sexual orientation. So, it just depends. Is the marriage going to contradict the asylum claim? And that's where the appointment is going to be very important for you to determine whether you need to withdraw your asylum application or whether, how you need to move forward. Can you have both of them going at the same time, your asylum and your marriage at the same time? So this is where it's important to schedule an appointment. How long after USCIS said they're reviewing correspondence? What's next? So check your case. There's no way that I can tell that timeline. How long after biometrics will you get the work permit through VAWA? So I don't count by from the biometrics. It's usually 8 to 12 months after filing. How can I file for a self-petition? It depends on what kind of self-petition you're looking at and so self-petition can be VAWA, self-petition can be based on your advanced degree. So it just depends. Is it true that the month of January you cannot file that I-130 and I-45? No, it's not true. He's on DACA. He came by plane. So if he came by plane, it likely means that so he is DACA and he came by plane. So it likely means he did not enter EWI, meaning entry without inspection. He did come inspected. And whether he qualifies for adjustment of status is going to depend on the rest of the facts here. How long is the VAWA approval time? So from filing to green card is about 3 years. In between, at around the 8-month to 12-month mark, you do get your 5-year work permit that can hold you over until you get your green card. Does immigration look at the most recent tax returns when sponsoring someone for the I-130? No, this is for the I-864, the affidavit of support. They are going to ask you if you filed your taxes in the last 3 years, and they're going to also ask you to provide your most recent tax return. All right, so now I'm on YouTube. Thanks for those great questions. Does VAWA have an age limit? No. So if you are being mistreated by a US citizen there are age limits. But I'm going to state this in a quick sentence. So if you are the spouse of a US citizen or resident, the parent of a US citizen who is age 21 and older. So if you're the parent, you can only apply for this if your abusive citizen child is 21 or older, or if you're the son or daughter of a US citizen or permanent resident who is under 21 and in some cases under 25. Those are where the age limits are. So that's what you have to keep in mind. There's no age limit when it comes to the marriage-based process, and it does apply to all genders. So there's no thing that says it's just for women or it's just for married couples. It's for parent-child situations and also the spousal situations. Is it okay to put my son on the I-130 application? I'm married to a citizen. So make sure you, wherever it asks for your children's information, please make sure you disclose your children's information. If you are having doubts or you're having questions about why why this is an issue, this is where you need to schedule an appointment to figure that out. But no, if you're thinking about putting your son on the application so he can get the green card along with you, unfortunately, they don't allow that. If your son is under 18 and you're married to the spouse, or under 21 and you got married to your spouse before your son turned 18, that means that your spouse can apply for your son in a separate I-130 petition. All right. How can we contact you? Go to the link in the profile, click on the link. You will see the various options. At the very top, you can schedule and confirm your own appointment. It's really easy. I have appointments that are being booked even in the middle of the night, so you don't have to wait to speak to me. You can book your appointment at any time of the day, and then we will call you to confirm, just, follow up with you afterwards. You can call the office though. You can talk to staff if you have questions before you book, and they can help you to book your appointment. So go to the link in the profile, go to the link in the description of the video, and you'll be able to get that link there. Step-by-step process for VAWA when married to a green card holder. So right now, because the priority date isn't current, you first have to apply for VAWA. You cannot bypass this process. You have to submit the VAWA petition. Once you submit the VAWA petition, then it's a waiting game. So you either wait for a decision, but VAWA decisions are taking upwards of 2.5 to 3 years. So what you have to do next is you have to wait for your priority date to become current. Once it becomes current, which right now it's been about 3 months and it hasn't changed, but once it becomes current, then you'll submit your adjustment of status application with your work permit application and your travel document application. At that point, you'll be issued your 5-year work permit, and then you'll be good to go until it's time to get that approval on the VAWA and then get your green card right after. Hello there, Yira. Thanks so much for your support. I appreciate it. Can a Canadian who lives in the US change over their citizenship or become a permanent resident? Petition for spouse to get green card. Spouse is currently in the US. So just being a Canadian citizen isn't going to get you the benefit of permanent residence. You do have to qualify in some way, like other immigrants do. I got a mail from your office. I'm trying to call, but it's not. So we have a large call center that answers the calls, and we have also dedicated scheduling coordinators. So go ahead, if you got email from us, reply to the email, and they'll be more than happy to follow up with you. Just give them your information in the email. But that's very unusual that you're not getting through because we have so many people answering the phone. When doing your filing, is it best to submit the affidavit letters with the papers, or can they be submitted afterwards? What's the best way to do it? Right now, with them waiving interviews, do not have that in your mind that you're going to submit anything afterwards. As if you can control it, don't do it that way, because that means delays, that means RFEs, that means that you may not have your interview waived. So make sure that you go ahead and get everything in at one time. All right, I'm going to answer the last question and then I will be out. I will be back tomorrow though to answer your questions again. How long can I wait after divorce before getting married to a citizen and after marriage? How long do I wait before filing? So there's nothing that says you have to wait, but always get legal advice because it may be advisable for you to spend some time gathering evidence, and so you want to make sure that you have the legal guidance you need to move forward in an informed way. Can I still apply for VAWA even though I broke up with my ex who used to violate me? And how do I prove that I was mistreated by my former spouse? Yes, absolutely. No, if you are divorced, you have up to 2 years to apply for this. If you're just separated right now, you can still apply for this. It doesn't matter how far back this happened. Give me a call, schedule the appointment, and I'll be more than happy to represent you, figure out what you qualify for, and then get started. All right, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks again for your time. I will be back tomorrow to be able to answer some more questions. I see here, what is iwi? It's a fun word to say. It's not so fun to deal with though. It's entry without inspection. So it means basically means that someone came across a border, snuck across a border without permission. And in these cases, what I do, I evaluate clients, some clients who have maybe overstayed, but also clients who have come in iwi. So that's come in iwi, meaning entry without permission, to determine whether there's a solution, like what we found for our current client who was granted parole in place, special permission to stay here in the US based on the spouse's military membership. And that means that they can now move forward with adjusting status without the shadow of the iwi anymore. All right. Have a good day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.